Live. Still with the Arcane Bear. We have another wonderful returning guest for you today, Pamelyn. How are you doing today?
Good.
I see you have a different dog beside you today. Which one is this?
That's the handicapped toy poodle.
So I know the toy poodle part, but how is it handicapped?
He has no knees on the back legs, so he walks on his front legs for the most part.
Interesting. How did that happen? Is it a biological change?
No, he was born like that. So I got him when he was like 2 months old. The breeder was gonna like throw him in the trash. So my friend, who was a vet, was like, "Here, take it." So I just took it.
Well, that's very kind of you. And how old is he?
10?
Oh, yeah. That's old. My puppy's only 2 years old. I can't imagine what it'll be like when he's 10. So they're usually fairly mellow. So at least you've got a mellow dog to hang out with. So diving into the markets now, we're just recording conversation here. We're talking about Ripple. So for those of you that don't know what Ripple is, it's not really a decentralized token. It doesn't have the circulating supply is extremely large. A good chunk of that circulating supply is in the hands of a very few individuals, and it's mainly set up to function as an interaction mediary between banks to lower the cost of SWIFT fees. So it's still actually using US dollars. So what's your discretion with this talk about what's happening on Coinbase at the moment?
Well, everybody thinks that on the 8th, they're going to list Ripple, although Coinbase has actually put out a tweet saying that they're not adding any new tokens. But so I spoke to my friend today. I was like, "Did you buy any Bitcoin?" And he said, "No, but I'm going to buy some Ripple." I'm like, "Why?" And then he told me that, because the banks use it. So I sent him an article from Bitcoin.com to tell him like why you should not invest in Ripple. Ripple is the devil's eggplant, and we do not sleep with the devil. I mean, I'm not going to use my precious BTC to feed the devil. That's just not like how it works, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think we've seen a lot more volume in the tokens than we've seen before. We're at almost $800 billion for the ecosystem as a whole right now, and we went from, I think, 100 billion to 800 billion in just the last few months. And seeing tokens like Ripple, it reminds me that a lot of the money moving into the ecosystem may enter through different directions. So if the bank has easier ways to enter or if the US dollar or any of the other foreign currencies have easier ways to enter the token ecosystem, it's going to drive everything up in value. Do you think Ripple will take over the Bitcoin dominance level, or will Bitcoin remain supreme? I know that's a loaded question, because I'm 100% positive that Bitcoin will jump over the next few months. I actually think it will go to around $25,000. But speculatively, do you think Ripple has a chance?
I mean, Ripple is not even blockchain, and Ripple Labs controls like twice the circulating supply. I think they have like $16 million. I mean, yeah. And also, they can freeze your wallet anytime, you know. I think you guys need to like sort of read up on that before you decide to invest in Ripple. And also, there are like 1,400 coins out there. You're saying that there's like nothing else that you should put your money in other than Ripple, which is why people got into the blockchain space in the first place.
Yeah, so that kind of brings me to one of my next thoughts about this new year. Coming into 2018, a lot of Americans are coming to the realization that they have to try to account for all the trades they make in and out of any of their accounts. I myself am not under that jurisdiction, but it just reminds us that regulation is coming into play. So one of the things that I think is valuable is the long-term strategies and holds on companies that I believe in. And that business aspect of it to me is extremely important. As we were talking about, again, prior to recording, I think Right Livelihood is well off. So not playing with or investing in companies that we don't believe in, because the technology doesn't really support that peer-to-peer economy. Like you're saying, they're not decentralized.
No technology. It is not blockchain. I need to repeat that.
So I guess I haven't done enough research into Ripple's underlying technology. I thought they were a blockchain system, but they're not.
Ripple is not a blockchain. There's a lot of information online that I think people should read up on, and I really think that it's a way for the banks to siphon off your precious BTC back into their own pockets. So I will not support Ripple. I will never support Ripple. And if you do, then good for you. But it's not something that I'm interested in.
Yeah, The Arcane Bear has never supported Ripple, although I did recently find out that one of my good friends was the original founder of the company before they went into this before the new people took over, so pre-2008. And it was originally supposed to be this peer-to-peer work economy where people had their own little ecosystem of community workspaces, etc. Anyways, that's besides the point. A lot of these ideas start off with great intent, but they get manipulated through the use of money. So I agree with you. I've never invested in Ripple because I don't believe in anything that they're doing, and there's no technology behind it. And like you said, it seems to be a way to, even with Bitcoin Cash, you see a lot of people probably get burned by the change from, Bitcoin Cash is the real Bitcoin. It's like, well, no, it's not. Bitcoin is still Bitcoin. Everything that's forked off of Bitcoin has become a different company. Dash is a fork off of Bitcoin. So I think the education of the community is extremely important. So I'm glad that you've decided to return and even inform me, because I didn't realize that Ripple wasn't actually blockchain based. I thought it was for some reason. And why does CoinMarketCap even list it at that point? It doesn't fit in the technology space, and there's so many other tokens that are out there. So with that in mind, what are some of the tokens that you're interested in? You were talking about something before we got online too that did 300% recently.
It's actually Neblio, Nebl, and when I opened up my Altfolio app today, I was like, "Whoa, what's happening?" Neblio has a very low and small circulating supply. It delivered way earlier than expected. It is a staking coin. They guarantee 10% per year. And it was listed on Binance, I think maybe like 1 or 2 weeks ago. And it sort of like went up a little bit, but it was holding steady. And then this morning it just went.
Nice. That's always enjoyable to see. Where's the company based out of? Do you know?
I'm not really sure, actually.
Yeah, see, so this is the thing that's so difficult. Just like you said, there's 1,700 tokens and so many things to try to pay attention to. So my movement for 2018 is that value investment. So I've really brought my portfolio down to a few tokens that I think over the next few years will continually move in lockstep. Because otherwise, what's the point? You might get a 300% gain here, but if Bitcoin does that again, you're chasing moving in and out of trades all the time. And I think a lot of people that are new to the space should probably just find exposure to valuable assets and sit on them. So that's what I'm going to start doing for this year, is just find the portfolio, lock it in, and add room for maybe a few other tokens, but pretty much try to sit on a consistent value of ideas instead of trading, because I've lost money trading too, or not lost money, but maybe not made as much or whatever, and who knows. So with that in mind, are there any tokens that you feel have that really long-term value that you're just going to continually add more exposure to as time goes?
Besides Neblio, I think Sub and also Bread. Bread is a new token. It's a wallet, and you can actually put fiat in and buy BTC, and they're going to incorporate a lot of other tokens. It just seems like it has the potential to be a better pillar with an existing product already. And like, I don't know what is up with Pillar. I always get their emails saying that they're looking for like volunteers, or like there's some competition so that they can get free help. I mean, if you raise so much money during the ICO, then shouldn't you pay people to like work for you?
You know what's interesting? I think we're in a very disruptive state of business itself. And I actually want to give a little bit of like a quick clap for them for doing that, because I think it's important to try to find people to work for your company in a very abstract way. Finding people that are devoted to the vision doesn't always come from just a paycheck. It comes from getting incorporating yourself into the dynamic of the team, the people you work with, that visionary aspect, the value of what you're working on. If you can get people that are really passionate, I think you end up with better results. And I think that might be one of those abstract ways that we see start to form more and more as we move into some of these ideas. So have you seen any of Brock Pierce's talks?
No, I haven't.
So he's one of the co-founders of EOS. Correct? They talk a lot about the future of governance and where these systems go, as we move forward into the future? Like what might 5 years of blockchain technology coming into play look like? Where can we use these strategic advantages, not just in the Medicare system, in technology or in media or in finance, but where can we apply this in every space possible for more efficiency between point A, point B transactions or peer-to-peer transactions? So I think this new altruistic mindset that's coming out, Brock is, when I saw him at the La BitConf, he's wearing Shipibo, which is a ayahuasca brand.
I know what that is. Yeah.
It's one of the tribes from the Amazonian jungle that uses sacred plant medicines for their traditional culture initiations. And I think we start to see more and more of that thinking that's in this ecosystem, that a lot of the people that are invested into this technology and are becoming more exposed to it, that they're starting to think outside of the block maybe this time. We've evolved from thinking outside of the box to thinking outside of the block. And that even we had Chuck Williams on the show the other day too, and he said that one of the reasons that got him working for Dash was this ayahuasca experience that he had. So even though I think there's a large amount of it that has to do with money, I think a lot of the big people that are staked in it are very egalitarian and very altruistic because they invested in Bitcoin because they didn't necessarily like banks and or governments. So do you think, tell me what Substratum offers. Is there a decentralized web space you're saying?
Yeah. Basically what's happening is that I think for companies like MadeSafe, you sort of have to change your address to like madesafe.facebook.com or something. But for Sub, you can just basically use the same like URL. And also, I think the space is going to be huge together with Skycoin, which is also doing sort of like a decentralized ISP thing.
It's interesting to think about. I was pondering it earlier today, what can be applied for kind of the free use of information itself. The fact that we're charged even for data at this moment to connect to signals that are already there is kind of, I think, can probably be removed by this type of thinking. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens. I think a lot more, this whole movement for the unbanked will also become the Wi-Fi'd to some degree, that it connects more people to information. And then that attention becomes more and more important. Steam has been doing really well lately. Do you write on Steam ever?
Never. I hate writing.
No, you hate writing.
Relate thoughts in paragraphs.
That's fair. You can just hit the dictate button and it will write down most of everything you say. Sometimes there's some funny mistakes. But you can record most of everything you say without actually writing nowadays. Yay, technology.
Okay.
And do you feel that any of the blockchain revolutions that are happening right now will happen more immediately in other countries? Or do you think the United States will be left behind? Or do you think regulations will become more integrative and that you can actually use these digital assets a bit more freely in the United States?
It's funny, I just saw a video that Bite Size Bitcoin posted right before we started this interview, and he said something really interesting. He said that innovation can't be stopped. These laws are just kind of like speed bumps. So, I mean, I don't even think that the U.S. is going to be like stopped or like slowed down because of these laws that they just try to put in place. And this is unifying. I think it brings the world together, and I don't think one country will be left out because we're speaking on the internet. Everything is global.
Well, I love how pessimistic you are, or sorry, optimistic you are. I'm going to be pessimistic. I have a feeling, and I hope you're right, but I have a feeling that a lot of countries may stumble themselves into losing a lot of their key personalities that would regularly be like focal points of industrial movements because of the regulation. I think that a lot of people might end up moving to foreign countries because they can likely operate more freely outside of that regulation in more integrative countries.
But they're still creating value and use for the token. It doesn't matter if they are doing it in Africa or in the US. I mean, because the utility of the token will be worldwide. So what does it really matter?
I think paperwork is extremely expensive, but that's not really a matter of the company's problems. I think it just adds to the difficulties in Yeah, you're right. Maybe it doesn't. I think when you go global, if you're operating in one country, if you're operating services in that country, the tax laws, the type of regulations that we'll see that come up that are a bit more cryptic, I think we'll see a lot of entrepreneurs likely leave the United States and go to other countries. Now, even myself, I'm looking at going to Bali or Singapore to try to see what else is out there for more supportive environments of this type of thinking in general, because and there's not even that there is regulation here, but there's not enough integration for it to be useful. Like I could go to my cafe and I can convince them to accept Litecoin, and I can convince my grocery store to accept Litecoin because I'm friends with them likely, but that's about it. Oh, and maybe the truck or buying some property. So I can build that ecosystem here, but I'm looking for those places where we can do it other areas. So I think we'll see the evolution over the next few years really move into places that have been overlooked, that don't have that infrastructure, because it's kind of I think infrastructure will likely move to places that have either recently been kind of destroyed and need to be rebuilt, or places that just don't have that infrastructure in general. I think Africa could be a huge mover in this space. Same with some of the like China has a huge area of development that no one lives in at all either. I think you could see a mass movement of people to these different areas to follow the trends in business. And I think that's one of the interesting parts. As we break into this $1 trillion market cap, we have the attention of all the developers. Everyone in almost every industry is going to start paying attention very, very soon. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with regulation in 2018. It's one of the reasons why I'm just building that stable portfolio. So Substratum and Neblio,
Yep.
are two of your long terms. And do you have any insight for any new investors, or sorry, not investors in the space, but new, yeah, well, I think investors is a fine word. Any new investors to the space that people should take it as one of the top tips for 2018?
What do you mean, that tips for trading? I'm not a trader.
No, not for trading. Like, so for me, I think the top tip is patience. I think that over the last few months, for me, watching my portfolio rise and fall with the movements of price is strictly patience, and to invest what I believe in. That would be my top tip.
Okay, so here's a good story. A couple of months back, I saw on Ian Bellina's tweet that he actually sold all his kin for like 80% loss. Well, kin has been performing really, really badly ever since the launch on Ether Delta, and it was on Cliff's report. I think, like, I can't remember which one. So a lot of people were yelling on Telegram saying that, oh, this coin is shit. It's never going to go anywhere. They're running away with their money. And so I think after the Ian Bellina posted that tweet, a lot of people probably thought that it was a good decision too to sell at 80% loss and just put the remaining money into something else. But then look at where it is today. It's like 3.5 times the ICO price, like a month after they sold it. So buy low, sell high, and never sell lower than you bought it for. It's just very simple. This is basic math.
Yeah, I think the only downside to that is every now and then you might have to get used to selling a loss of Bitcoin, but at least a gain in US dollar terms.
Never, ever. I will never, ever look at the USD value. I only trade in terms of BTC value, and I will never sell a coin for lower than the BTC value that I bought it for. And I think this is actually rule number one for people getting into the space, which is to always only look at the BTC value.
No, I absolutely agree. Sometimes I've moved out of tokens just because it's easier to exit a position at a BTC loss, not at a BTC loss, but it's because BTC has moved up. I don't see that as a loss. It's just that's why I move out of those tokens and don't find it as a loss, because it's not a loss of value if you've gone up in dollar terms at the particular moment. It's that you didn't keep pace with the Bitcoin horse, and sometimes it's easier to let go. But I agree with you. Most of the time, if you're invested in a valuable company, it's just about that patience for the few months to wait till it catches back up to where it was.
Just don't look at it. Like, if it's shit, just don't look at it for a couple of months. Everything's going to be fine. I mean, we're in such like parabolic phase right now. You don't have to be a great trader to make money. You could throw at any shitcoin, and in 2 days you'll be like 30% gain, you know. So it's a great time to be doing what we're doing, I think.
Yeah, you're right. Just I want to stress that again. Not that I want to stress out about anything, but the fact that finding more exposure in the market is extremely important. One of the reasons why I started building the Arcane Bear is because I realized, well, you know, we've got affiliate sales to Ledger wallets, and we write on Steemit, and it gives us access to building a media set, or not media, but a company that actually gets paid in digital assets. That I wanted to find a way to build a company that did that at first, and it's been really exciting to do that because we've actually been able to create a lot of peer-to-peer transactions or business-to-business relationships over the last few months, and seeing that that's possible is really inspiring. Because like I agree with you, this market is only going to go up. So you could pretty much just take money and throw it almost at anything, like you're saying, almost any shitcoin to some degree. And because there's such a wide scale, broad spectrum investor entry point, anything can pop. You have no idea what's going to blow up 300 or 400%. You're like, really? Like I saw Paragon was up 500%. You're like, what? I have no idea what's going on anymore. It kind of reminds me of the first time I saw the video Gangnam Style. I'm like, well, I have no idea what's real anymore.
But I mean, you don't really know when this whole thing is going to end. Just like how last summer everything just went psh, and then I was left holding the bag of like, I think like 60 something shit coins. Like, so I'm on a mission to sort of like reduce the number of coins that I have and just sort of concentrate on things that I really believe in, because it's easy to trade in an up market, but then when it's down, it's just not that fun, you know, to be looking at your depreciating coins.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think if you're invested in companies that you believe in and that you think will do well long term, it's a lot easier to move through those moments. If you don't believe in those things, like if I invested in Ripple, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know, I just don't want to do it. So I don't, because if it drops down and you're at a loss, it's a loss that I would probably take because I would move out of that position. So I agree. I've channeled down to around 8 tokens, and I'm going to leave maybe a bit of room for speculative trading just for fun. Because I do kind of like the rush of day or swing trading. If you can find a volume pumps or crossovers through different Bollinger Bands and clouds, and it's fun to do that every now and then because of that rush you get putting. Like it's like putting a bet on the table. You know, you go into the roulette table to some degree and being like, well, what can you win? So I do like to do that, but I don't like to think of that at all as an investment strategy. That's more like going to the gambling run for me. I like the exhilaration of being able to lose it too.
It's kind of like playing a video game that never ends. So as long as you don't sell at a loss, you haven't really lost.
Well, so this is true to some degree, but I think with Stratus, for instance, right? There was a token that was trying to build this energy channel for business to build on top of, and they were aiming at building on the older structures, and they're not doing very well. So there was a point where selling them at that high would have been the great way to go, whereas riding it out, right? So that's why that long-term value investment is important, because if it just rides out and never comes back online, then it doesn't matter if selling those highs may sometimes be the most important thing you can do, or even selling at a loss, because selling at a loss if you take a 30% loss here, that might be 100% gain there, and it's all a game of risk management, right? So
because I'm Asian, I don't agree with this strategy. I don't agree with selling at a loss ever.
I don't take anything as a loss necessarily. I think it's all a learning curve, and because that learning curve can be curbed quite easily by not doing a lot of trading, but just doing value investing. Selling at those losses, I think for new traders might be smart, because maybe they jumped into something they had no idea what it was. There's some of these shit coins, and it's like your money might do better somewhere else in that position, right? I have no idea what token that is that you're holding, and like these 60 tokens that you hold, I'm like, I go through and I clean it out. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna get rid of all these. I'm just gonna put it into 8 or 10 tokens that I can manage in my mind, that I think will do really well over the next year, and then move from there. Because I'm way too busy to think about trading, unless I want a dopamine and adrenaline rush from putting a bunch of money on the roulette table.
Oh.
So here's kind of a fun question. You said you were doing what do you call this? You went for what's a pre-gig for a potential actressing position called? An audition.
Yeah.
There we go. You went for an audition. What was it for? Can you tell us?
I can't say anything. It's just one of those things. But like, I mean, we go for like tons of auditions like every week, you know. It's just like what I do when I'm not trying to trade.
How many auditions a week do you do?
Well, this week just started. I think I had like three.
And how much time goes into, do you get scripts from these auditions? Do you have to try to build into the character? How much insight do you get before you go into each one of these?
It's usually 11 pages overnight. And the audition that I just went in for, I got the email from my agent at 11:30 at night, and I had to go in, I think 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So there's really not much time.
Wow. And is it often scripted, or is there improvisation? What's the type of idea that these audition people are generally looking for?
It's always scripted, but I think they're just looking for you. They just want to see what you bring to the character, and you might be great, and you might not fit the job, so you won't get hired. I don't know. It's astrological. Who knows, right?
It's astrological. So you think it has to do with astrology, like whether maybe if they're a Cancer sign and you're a Scorpio, that you'll get the gig.
No, I think like it's much more than being a good actor. Like things have to fit together, and like it has to. I don't know. It's just a lot. There's a lot going on. You know, it's not just about the acting. That's all I can tell you.
So I see that I know the Arcane Bear audience always likes music, and I see that you have a gong in the background. And I know there's going to be at least one or two comments about the gong. So do you know what note it's in? Can you hit the gong for us?
No, I can't. Maybe not today because it's really far back. Maybe another day.
Yeah, I would like that included in every conversation that we have. So next time, instead of boom, it's just the gong. Yeah, we're upgrading from boom to gong now. Do you know what note it's in?
No, I don't. I'm not a musician. I have no idea what notes are, and I just play by feel.
I saw you had a flute in some of your Instagram pictures. Do you play that flute as well?
Only when I'm stressed.
When you're stressed, well, that's a great time to play. Does the music sound stressed out, or do you play it because it makes you not stressed out?
I think it regulates my heartbeat, so then it puts me in a calmer like state.
Oh, I love the flute. Do you know what company it's made by? It's got a beautiful bear on the top of it too, does it not?
Yeah, I bought it in sort of like a Native American like shop in Arizona, and I was looking for it for like days. And then when I saw that one, I was like, okay, this is the one that I'm gonna get. And I couldn't play at all at that time. I was just playing the gong, and I thought that it would be a good addition to whatever thing I was doing. It's just for fun, you know. I'm totally not a musician.
Okay, so can you play the flute?
Not very well.
Where are you having trouble with the flute? I mean, we're in total podcast range now. Where are you having trouble with the flute? It's so easy.
The finger, I can't close it well enough when I'm trying to do the halves, so sometimes like it goes out of tune.
Well, the fact that you're even going into playing half notes shows a quite adept skill of playing.
Not really.
No, it's not easy, like you're saying, to cover just the slight corner of the note. That's not easy to do. And going to all these auditions, I didn't realize as an actress you'd be going out so many times per week already. That's an immense amount of work to try to take in, and to try to put on new characters all the time too. I don't know if I could do it. I'm only good at being myself. I'm not sure I could play too many other people very well. So do you have any other abstract thoughts about the blockchain and disruptive space that we're seeing right now? What's your thoughts about Bitcoin's price in the next few months?
Well, it's definitely going to go back up. People were selling at a loss because of the recent tank. I'm like, are you guys crazy? You can't sell it. You can't sell your Bitcoin ever. Oh, actually, what I wanted to talk about was also this new token that people might not know. It's called Cred. It is sort of like a crypto PayPal, and they have a really strong backing in the Middle East. And they already partnered with Each, which is sort of like an open table for the Middle East, and it's a working product. I think it is only trading on Ether Delta now. I don't know, but it might be something for people to look into in terms of like getting like tokens into fiat.
Nice, cred. So we'll see if we can find that. We'll put those links down below. As I think we're going to have one heck of a ride this year. I'm really looking forward to how the next few months play out. I think Cliff High was likely correct. We're going to see really soon if we touch the top line and come back down for another sweep on that $13,000 range with Bitcoin. If we don't do that, I think we'll be at around $25,000 to $30,000 pretty easily by March. Just looking at some of the simple charting, and then everything is going to explode. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really glad you decided to want to jump on a call and a quick chat with us. I hope we do it frequently, especially when you have ideas that I should be probably paying attention to. I was just so busy working on other projects, so I'm very grateful for you sharing your thoughts. I'll check out Substratum as well. We'll make sure we put the links for that and Neblio down below. Check out our Telegram channel, anywhere on social media through LinkedIn, Facebook, Steemit, wherever you might want to find us. Remember to give us those thumbs up. Helps other people later on down the stream find the information they're looking for. Remember to subscribe. That way you can become a part of the growing Bear family. And if you have any thoughts, leave those in the comments below. I usually do my best to try to answer all of those. Pamelyn, thank you again for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon.
Bye, guys.